What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype, episode 318. We got a special guest on today's show. Coming up later in the show, Alex Giaimo will be on the show with Cody, talking all things baseball, Topps, lots of great topics. Great interview, so stay tuned for that. But we're going to kick things off talking about Bowman Draft. 2023 Bowman Draft just hit. Tom Brady, you've probably seen the commercials. Eli Manning wearing the Giants jersey, wearing the San Francisco Giants jersey, and showing off those World Series rings. Amazing. A lot of great marketing behind the Bowman Draft that came out on 12/12. We're sitting here on 12/13 recording this. The Superfractor was already pulled, the Tom Brady 1-of-1 Superfractor, and the hobby is a buzz about this thing. It's good and bad. It's some say it's gimmicky, some say it's awesome. So we're going to dissect that. We're going to talk about some of the players, and then we'll get into that interview. Guys, how are you feeling after we've all ripped a bunch of 2023 Bowman Draft? How do you like it? What's the good, the bad, the ugly? We'll start with C-Rad.
I really don't have much negative to say about this year's Bowman Draft. I think the added marketing, the hype of the Tom Brady, the obvious guys that we have to chase this year, which is true for which is the case for most years. And then the amount that you were actually hitting of these top prospects was made the product a fun rip yesterday. I did about 12 cases yesterday on release, so nothing bad to say really. From a product standpoint, it's great. Design standpoint is standard fare, I guess you would say. Like it looks nice. I don't have any complaints about the design.
Mostly
either.
on cards, right?
Mostly on card, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, and like I said, the added marketing, the added hype to it, just made it even more fun to rip Bowman Draft this year. Personally,
Yeah, I give Topps' marketing team an A+ on this. It's the amount of push going into this product and the marketing behind it is something that we've never seen from this industry. And Michael Rubin's been talking about how he was going to do this, and that was the whole Fanatics plan. And I didn't know if it was really going to work out, but they did a heck of a job, so I got to give them credit there. The other thing that I was pleasantly surprised with was the HTA configuration. I have been pretty negative about breaker-specific SKUs. This actually, the amount of color that you get, the one knock on it is that I've seen not a lot of the OG colors, a lot of the waves and stuff like that. Have not seen what I like to call your daddy's gold, your daddy's green. Well, it wouldn't be your daddy's green, but green regular. But the amount of color that I've seen coming out of there, it's actually a pretty good value.
The one knock is, and I'll kick it over to Cody on this one, is you do a case now. It's a 6-box case, which is new. Choice product in itself, we're talking choice breaker, same product, is 3 autos only and a 6-box case now. They've never done a 6-box case for Bowman. So only 18 cards in the break. I thought that was going to be a big negative in the hobby. I haven't seen much of that. Cody, what did you see on Fanatics Live doing breaks? Was anybody complaining about only the 18 autos, or was it mostly all positive?
Not at all. There was no complaints. It was a lot of happy customers over on Fanatics Live. And yeah, what's funny, Dan? I didn't even think about that. But I pulled 3 reds yesterday, which is that's a lot of reds for whatever, any day. Not a single was red regular.
The regular colors are definitely lighter in the HTA Breakers Delight, whatever you want to call it. I guess HTA Choice, I believe, is what we're calling it. But very rarely would you open up a box and get 3 base autos.
Yep. And
almost never. And you could open up a hobby box, you could open up a super jumbo box, and you can get all base autos.
Yeah. And super jumbo seems like it was the least amount of colors. You're getting 5 autos in super jumbo. You get a lot of cards. But the Brady inserts, the non-autos, have ours. We've hit an orange. We've hit a blue. Did you hit a blue? No,
I hit a base.
You hit a base.
C-Rad hit the blue.
Hit the blue. And the orange, they all came from Super. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that's where they all are, but for the sake of what we did, they were all in the Super Jumbo. So, but a lot less color as far as the autos in the Super. And I know the Super Fractor 1/1, which is arguably not the best card to pull because it's not the 12 of 50 that has the inscription. It came out of regular jumbo, hobby jumbo. So that's where that one was pulled. So we'll have to see, where the autos are coming out of. I know people have pulled autos, but I don't know if they're coming from Choice, if they're coming from Hobby, if they're coming from Super, or a mix of all of them.
I feel like it was a pretty even mix yesterday. I had a really good box of Super Jumbo. The one with the Brady was almost entirely base autos. I think one of the first Super Jumbo had a couple of low-numbered stuff, a couple of golds in there. I think there was one red in there. So I think it's been a pretty good mix. But, yeah, Choice has also been where if you want to get the low number, the stuff that pops. But, yeah, it's Bowman Draft. It's a staple. It's always fun to rip regardless of the big promo that's happening this year. But I think it just kind of adds another level where now, hey, I said it on the interview, I'll say it here, but the fact that I went on my timeline yesterday and saw people that have never said a single thing about baseball cards, maybe in their life, all being like, what's going on here? Why is Tom Brady in an Expos jersey? Oh, baseball cards. Okay. Oh, Eli Manning's in on the act. Okay, cool. That's neat. And that's a win. That's a big win, for Fanatics.
Is it a win?
I think it's a huge win.
Is it getting too mainstream?
No, it's a win. I'm sorry. I know. We'll talk. I know this is what we kind of wanted to get into, but like, it's a win because it's mainstream. I guess that's how I feel about it. Going mainstream is a win. I know maybe it means I don't. This. We all have it. We're talking bands. Like we all like to know. Like
somebody would say it. Somebody would say going mainstream is also selling out. But
sure, but guess what? Selling out. I can put a lot more food on the table when I sell out, baby.
I wanted to preface it by when Bowman Draft comes out, and it comes out actually the same time every year. It comes out around this time in December, where there's no baseball going on. The draft's when did the draft happen? Like 5 months ago.
Right,
so it's like
July.
A lot of the hype.
All-Star break.
Yeah. So a lot of the hype has died down on the casual collectors knowing that they got this guy and everything like that. So it's like kind of comes out at literally kind of the wrong time. So if you throw in a card like this to grab more attention, I think it's overall a good thing. But yeah, I wanted to ask you guys roundtable because I've seen these old hobbyists kind of say it's gimmicky, to buy the contenders instead, get the football card. Why are you spending this much on a baseball card? You never played baseball. Why this is a dream card, but it's never really happened. It's gimmicky. So what Dan alluded to is it's like, Metallica or a band like Metalheads, they followed Metallica from the beginning in the 1980s, and they were all going to their shows wearing their leather jackets. They didn't want to watch any other band because they were so devoted to Metallica. And then, Black Album comes out, Enter Sandman goes mainstream, and it's like, oh, okay, I don't know, maybe I'm still a fan. And then it's like, then Load comes out, and it's like, I'm done with this band. They cut their hair, and so it was like, are we approaching that status? We're out of the pandy, so we have lost some casualties and then from the pandy. But stuff like this, getting Eli Manning talking about cards, having Tom Brady in a commercial for cards, that is something that is mainstream. Would you, as a hobbyist, rather it be more of a niche, or are you going to be benefiting from it going mainstream? Because there's a lot of pros and cons to that.
I think the fear is that if it goes mainstream, me as an old school collector, I'm going to be paying more for what I want in the future because more people want it and now it's mainstream. But is it being mainstream sustainable? And for how long is it sustainable is the question.
I guess, something that just kind of dawned on me. I mean, you guys could tell me. In a way, wasn't the boom going mainstream? Wasn't it like, the best kept secret in sports, for sport collectors, baseball cards, they're hot again or whatever, for in that moment. So wasn't that kind of going mainstream? And I know that this is different. We just said it, like it was reaching an audience that never thinks about this stuff. And I personally think that's a win. But I think we've already kind of gone through that too.
Didn't we go through that in 1990?
Sure.
Wouldn't
this has happened before. It will happen again.
Well, and if you listen to the Bill Simmons, Bill Simmons podcast with Ruben, there's about a 20-minute segment on cards, and he kind of said that Simmons pointed it like this, that he was on the board of Topps, and they were just like, make cheeseburgers, make cheeseburgers, make cheeseburgers. Don't do anything different. We're just going to stay in our lane, keep our lead, and keep making the product the same way. Well, they got extremely lucky during the pandemic because they were literally making products the same way for a while. They got extremely lucky that people didn't have anything to do and people were buying Jordan 10s at an obscene amount of money. And we saw that decline. So I think we've lost a lot of those guys, those sneakerheads that have came in, thought that they could make buco bucks or invested all this free money because remember, there's PPP loans. There was tax forgiveness. There was, money that we got. People got money, free money during that time, and I think a lot of them spent it on.
People also had
stuff.
a lot of extra time.
Sure,
right?
I think that's what we like. I think people were trying to figure out different things that they can do with their time, and it just so happens that cards was one of those things.
Yep, cleaning up the basement, cleaning up the attic. Oh, hey, what's this? Oh, hey.
So, and I think now, Fanatics realizes this, and what he said was he wants to make events around releases similar to like an album or a video game where it's a big event. Because before that, it would just be like, oh, it's coming out. And they relied on the sellers to promote it, like the shops and the breakers and everything to promote these releases. Now they're going out of their way by hiring, Tom Brady being that relationship that he has with Ruben. And, they've had Derek Jeter do stuff for them. They're getting these guys to get it mainstream because there's guys that follow Tom Brady and there's guys that follow Derek Jeter that don't collect cards. They may be more interested in cards now. That's seeing that they're having their idols talk about it. So, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it too mainstream? I think what also gets lost in the shuffle too, and I see it a lot on forums, is you're bringing in new people. These people have no idea, right? They'd have no clue of what a refractor is, what the odds are, what can I get. They're just thinking they're going to get a box with Tom Brady. And I see a lot of other collectors like kind of being like, being snooty and be like, you should know this, and like kind of being snooty towards them, right? Or they make a mistake and they give a guy a PayPal friends and family and they get screwed and they're like, you're an idiot. Why would you ever do that? And it's like, don't treat people like that. You know what I mean? Like, because we were all new at once. At one point, everybody was new and we all had to learn this stuff. Remember when you were new, and help these people along to understand. And that's my other question to you guys, and anybody can take this next one, is how confusing is this industry? If somebody watches the Tom Brady video yesterday and they're like, wow, that's really cool. I actually was an Expos fan back in the day, and Tom Brady's my favorite player. I want this card. Do you think that people are going to think they can buy a box and get that card? Because I don't think there was any info out there that these are on average or random or this is many are made. You know what I mean? We even got an email. I want the Tom Brady spot. Like, I want the Tom Brady card. If I buy a box, do I get the Tom Brady card?
I want it.
So are we getting some of that with all this? Are these newbies like thinking that they're going to get something guaranteed? Do we need to educate more on a level of like, this is what it is?
I think we do. And I think it's actually up to us who have a voice in the hobby to make sure that like people could listen to a podcast and understand like how the industry works and different products and different like pack configurations and different odds and stuff like that. It's kind of on us to relay that information. Because there is enough content out there. There's different websites you can go to that'll lay it out. There's different podcasts you can listen to that'll do previews and lay out different releases. So it is kind of on us to share that information. It's all information that's readily available if you want to find it.
Yeah.
Now, some people may choose to be like, I just want to live in a fantasy world. I saw a $500,000 bounty on a Tom Brady. I would like to buy a box and get that card. So I need somebody to basically reassure me that if I buy this box for $700 or however much it is, that I'm going to get this $500,000 card. And I would enjoy that very much.
Don't be going into the excuse me, good sir. I would like
Excuse me,
one
good
Tom
sir.
Brady
I would
card,
like one
please.
Tom Brady card that goes for
Thank
a
you.
$500,000. Here is $500 American dollars.
Yep.
Thank you. I think people do.
What accent was
People
that, by the
tend
way?
to have selective hearing, and then they kind of manifest their own like dream reality that what they want to happen. I'd like that too. So I think it's one of those things where the information's out there. You're going to have to dig and learn that stuff for yourself. But again, it's out there.
But collectors need to embrace it because we've all been in these scenarios. Like, say you're going to, your friend invites you to watch the World Cup, and you don't watch soccer. You're like sitting back there, and there's 20 guys in that group or whatever, how many people are there, and they're like talking about, Messi or Ronaldo. You have no idea, but you're like sitting back there. You don't want to ask because you don't want to look like that guy. Yeah. I think you get that in the hobby is like they join these forums and they're trying to learn, but they don't want to type up this thing of like, what's the difference between a silver and a base, and what's a refractor, and what's, they don't want to do that because they feel like they're going to get blasted for being new. And I think we all need to embrace these new collectors and really help them along the way. And I think the hobby's better than most genres of other things, but just being able to relay this information and make them an informed consumer where they're like, don't go for like Black Mamba grading and get your cards sent there because they're offering $5 a card. That's not a legit grading company, Don't buy Super Break. You're not going to get don't get into repack. Like all this stuff like needs to be said because I think sometimes people get obsessed. We're all obsessed. A lot of people in this hobby are obsessed and they try to buy everything and they try to get into everything and they make it and then they get burnt out because they don't know and they don't make educated decisions and it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think I get what you mean, but I think as a whole, the hobby community is pretty good about accepting and saying, hey, you're new, or especially if you go to a show, too. I always say, like, whether it's a local show or a big show, if you go to a show, too, that's where you're going to meet people, talk to people, put a face to a voice or whatever, or to a breaking company, and you're going to find, like, oh, yeah, this is an inviting community where everybody, we want to grow this thing. That's where if anybody who is really against this, where you're like, man, the hobby is dead. We're just doing gimmicks and all that. It's like, but in the same voice saying, we got to get new people in this hobby. We got to grow this thing. Isn't this exactly what this is doing? And I know maybe in the same line, now I'm just playing out how would this conversation go? Well, that's a $500 box. You're going to, what, little Jimmy's going to buy a $500 box? Well, no, guess what came out this week? Topps Heritage High Number that little Jimmy could go buy. Yes. Or whatever, or maybe get a little
Johnny can't hit a $500,000 card out of Topps High.
Could hit a real one red. He could hit a real one auto. That's not too bad.
But little Jimmy only collects Tom Brady.
You can also get again. I didn't buy boxes when I was a kid. I was buying packs. Like that's what you did. Like as a kid, and you also don't care. That was like, frankly. I was actually hanging out with my 10-year-old nephew who's super into baseball right now, super into baseball cards. I gave him baseball cards. I'm like, here you go. Oh, there's an autograph. And he liked the Shohei Ohtani non-auto way more. That's worth probably $3, Like that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said like along the lines of what you guys are saying for a new person to come into the hobby, right? Because everything is very social media based now. So new guys come into the hobby, they look at all these big time influencers and stuff, and then you go to the comments, and we talk about the comment section all the time.
Oh yeah,
it's largely negative, even though that's not the hobby at large.
Mm-hmm. But the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if for a new collector that doesn't want to doesn't want to get made fun of for asking just like simple questions, which they should we should embrace that. We should be able to answer these questions for these people, but they see all these negative comments and they're like, I don't even want to.
Well, that and also another point to that is there's a lot of money in this industry and you don't want to be taken advantage of either, right? Yeah. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to buy this card, but I don't know if it's the right price. I don't know if this seller's reputable. I don't know if I'm going to get my money back if I lose the card. All these questions from new people. I mean, that's actually a video we should make. We should revisit some of the basics of collecting and put it out there. You know,
like that.
To just so some people can watch and maybe send to their friends that are new.
I mean, in general. I brought this up to Cody. What was it, 3 industry summits ago, I think it was, or maybe a Topps conference, where they brought up the statistic where it was something like 90% of baseball fans do not know that sports cards even exist.
Right.
So as we grow the hobby, which you would hope anything that you love to do, more people can enjoy. And I get it, some people are so want to hold on to it so tight. And want it to stay the same forever, but it's like things evolve. Things you gotta if you want more our kids, their kids to enjoy what the things that we also love, it has to get bigger. That's a huge market that is vastly untapped still.
Still, even with the pandemic.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, say we only add another 10%. That's you're afraid of you know what I mean? I get it. If
it'll never be 50%, but
it would never be 50%. But I think these guys, the way these guys that are negative, they're thinking that it's we're adding the whole 90% to the hobby.
And you're right. You actually bring up a good point because I don't know how many conversations I have even today in 2023 where it's like I do breaks and they're like, oh, okay, like I have a 1989 Mark McGwire, I have a 1986 Barry Bonds, and then you have to explain to them that there's like autos on it. When are we going to get to the point where they're like, oh yeah, I remember that 2009 Mike Trout? Like nobody says that you talk to unless they're deeply involved in the hobby. It's always the 89, the 91s, the 93. I think I have, or you run into like one of the guys that was picking up the garbage. He was like, oh, I think I got some Jordan rookies. And that's what he knows about the hobby. It's either Jordan rookies, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana.
Griffey, yeah.
And there's that whole era from the 90s to now that nobody even knows anything of what happened in this hobby. So it's like, I would love for somebody to be like, oh, that's what you do? Oh, yeah, I saw, the Tom Brady contenders went for $200,000 or, whatever. Like, they know some random fact about the hobby.
I could guarantee you anytime somebody says, if you're having a conversation like that and they're like, I have a Michael Jordan rookie. And if you're like, oh, yeah, go get that for me, it's going to be like a 1993.
Yes, I'm going to be the right year.
And I mean,
upper deck.
Been in a
yeah,
bike
it's
spoke.
like an upper deck base card.
Sure.
And you're just like, not a rookie card. But it's the certain terms.
Time period.
The terms of rookie card have been popularized with people. Like people know. So they're just like, oh, it's old, so it must be a rookie card. So I do know that term, but 99.9% of the time,
or worse, it could be a star rookie.
I can't. I actually.
Keep them
I
away
think
from
my.
me.
I think my contract in the hype going forward. I'm not allowed to talk about.
We haven't brought that up
the
like a
star Michael Jordan rookie. I'm not allowed to have an opinion. There's still comments that sometimes
there are
pop
still
up and they're
comments
just like,
happening.
I can't believe you are basically saying that you have no idea what you're talking about.
You guys saw the comment that I put in Slack, right? Of the slab stocks. They were trying to like, which one would you rather have? It was a star, or it was
the star or the Fleer, right?
It was like some kind of like a Bryce Young or something like that. I was like, give me the Bryce Young, dude. Get
that star out of here.
No, I saw that.
Oh no, someone just got a Google alert on their star. Mojobreak's talking about star again.
Yeah, and then scrub the content.
I didn't know. To this day, like I didn't know that was a pain point to a lot of Jordan collectors out there.
They're out there. There are dozens of us.
Stop trying to make Star 85 happen. It's never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. Yeah.
It's like what's the
Fetch.
Yeah.
Mean Girls. Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen.
And I think the commerce websites, or apps, Fanatics Live, which we're on, and whatnot, and all
Never
these
heard of
guys. Yeah, never
heard of whatnot.
Are making it more available, but I think we're still like I think in the Pandy we had maybe like 4% of fans, and maybe we're at like 6 to 7% now. So there's still a lot of room to grow, and I think that's what Fanatics saw as an investment to bring it more to the mainstream. But like, yeah, I mean, I just see a lot of negativity from the price point of the product. Yeah, it's higher than it was, a lot higher than it was. But these resources, all this marketing dollars does go into this product.
It's
right?
also a really good draft class. Like I don't want that to be lost here. Like, yes, the Brady thing obviously is a huge hook here, but it's also very good. Like, it's a very top heavy class with a lot of big names. Skeens is not nothing. He's a big name with a big social media following and dating a huge social media star. Like, there's a lot to chew on with this thing.
Yeah, I mean, Wyatt Langford, Max Clark. I mean, you've got Jacob Wilson, son of Jack Wilson. So these are, and for those guys, people that are listening, these are their first Bowman autos. These are going to be their most coveted cards. So that's one thing that gets lost in Bowman as well, is that a lot of the casual baseball fans don't know any of these names. They don't know. Like, they come into your chat. Who am I chasing? I mean, you get that. How many times did you get that yesterday? How many times did you guys?
Who
get
we
that?
chasing for the
Who
Red
we
Sox?
chasing? Nobody
Who
knows.
we chasing for
Good
this
amount of
team?
times.
I think.
I mean, not even teams. Like, in general, who am I looking for? I don't have
the
no
number
idea.
one question was, have you hit a Brady yet?
Yes,
That too.
Yeah.
And then number two was, who am I chasing?
Any Brady's?
That wasn't
And
the number one question.
and who am I chasing for this team?
Who we chasing, fellas?
Who we chasing?
Who we chasing?
But to get back to the draft, like Bowman Draft in general, there's always a handful of names out of the gate that we are chasing every single year. I could almost guarantee, go back in time, go back 3 years, go back 4 years, go back 5 years, and look at that checklist. And I could guarantee you there's players that you would be chasing now if you were to open up that box that we were not chasing when that product came out.
Yeah. Don't have to go back too far. 2020. You guys had the Volpe Superfractor. It wasn't the hit.
Nope.
That was not what you were looking for.
Didn't
You were
even know how to
looking
say
for
his
Dominguez.
name.
Right. That's not what you were looking for.
Volpe?
Well, we were disappointed.
Volpe.
It wasn't
Volpe.
Dominguez.
Volpe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were the same first moment, same year. Volpe and Dominguez.
Yeah.
It was
Bobby
we
Witt,
were
too.
chasing Dominguez, Bobby Witt,
Yeah.
and
Robert
Robert
Powassan,
Powassan.
who maybe on a milk carton somewhere. I don't
Yeah,
know.
which is crazy, and to think
Is that
that
guy
Volpe ended up
Oakland,
being the guy. There's probably more players in 2020 Bowman that would be chasing right now.
Yeah.
I do got to say this. We're in a new studio. If you guys are watching the video, which very few of you watch
We're in a
the
new
video.
shipping container.
We appreciate those of you who do.
Yeah, we are at a new studio. I do got to say the acoustics sound pretty good in here.
It does sound nice.
You know, I can't hear anything that's going outside. That I like that.
Can't hear a thing.
Did you hear
can't hear
TJ
anything.
going on the tape when you were on the?
No,
you
I did not.
Oh
and
my
hopefully,
God.
didn't.
Okay.
I don't think it bled through. So
I mean, because I was thinking, oh, it's kind of loud for his podcast
Yeah.
right now.
And to
but-
think
it was
Shane
good.
tried to put his desk in here.
still can. We got room.
No.
There's been a lot of
No, because
subway fumbling around in here.
Yeah, like just a lot of bags,
Yeah.
a lot of
Before
chewing sounds.
before we go, we move on. I do just want to be like take the step back of the whole reason that there is this big to do about here we going mainstream. Oh my gosh, the hobby, it's such a gimmick, it's dead, is because Topps and Fanatics did the bare minimum essentially of marketing a product, like something 99.9% of other big companies that are trying to get your disposable income to do just made a commercial, like a good commercial. Like it's the bare minimum. It's not even on TV, as far as I know. It's not in circulate. It's not like I don't know.
Wait, you're saying Topps and Fanatics is a bare minimum?
Not bare minimum,
Because
but
I
you
mean,
know.
I'm pretty sure they spent a lot.
Okay,
of
they spent a lot of
They're
money.
probably
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
upset
But
with your
again,
comment right
It's
now. They're like,
it's okay, fine. Sorry, Topps Fanatics. Wonderful
well, you
commercial.
think Tom Brady's cheap?
Again, he's not cheap. Neither is Larry Walker or Vlad Guerrero or Pedro
Eli
Martinez for
Manning.
that, or Eli Manning
Or
They're-
David
they're not
Tyree.
cheap. But this is
Well,
what
David Tyree might
But
be
this is what you do. Like I don't know. It's just weird that it's like no, not here. You can't do it here because then you're mainstream. Just making a commercial. So anyway, it's just funny that's what we're all in. On.
Well, I mean, but they've been doing. Like, I mean,
trying
they've
to
had,
find some of the
they've had
funnier
J-Rod.
comments.
They've had J-Rod in commercials.
Yeah. Now I will say this: if maybe your concern is now, keep that same energy for 2024 Series 1, which they have done the Julio Rodriguez stuff. Maybe you do a big rollout with all the big rookies because it's going to be a really stacked rookie class. You can have all the big rookies in one thing, something like that. So maybe that's it. But also Tom Brady's Tom Brady. So this was always going to catch on
from
bigger.
the Fanatics camp, I think the marketing is.
They've done a
I
amazing
think it may be, if not number one priority.
Yeah. It's their biggest improvement.
Definitely up there.
Yeah.
I don't think the marketing is going to go anywhere. I think we're going to still see a strong marketing push, and they want to get this. They want to get this industry, and they want to add a lot more eyeballs to it.
I'm going to say something crazy.
Get crazy.
Chance we get a Top Series 1 Super Bowl commercial.
No, I'm
Just saying. We're talking Michael Rubin. We're talking about 10X in the hobby
now.
here.
I think
I'm just saying.
I
don't think it's out of the realm of
Now,
possibility.
I think what can happen is fast forward 3 years when they have the exclusive football license.
Yep.
And you have the Super Bowl going on.
Yep.
You have to.
Topps Chrome comes out a week later or something.
You have to go after that market with that amount of eyeballs who are into football. I don't know if like promoting the baseball category during the Super Bowl is hitting the right mark or if it's the best money spent from marketing.
Sure.
But if you have football, absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine like promoting a high-end football product during the Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
insane.
It sounds very plausible that we're eventually going to get something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, before we get into this fantastic interview coming up here with Alex, I wanted to mention there was another. It's funny because everybody's like, so Triple Diamond. We've met Alex before.
My
hung
boy,
out.
man.
Great dude. Not part of Fanatics Live. Does their own thing on YouTube. Blah blah blah. Still, the comments are like, "Oh, good, great breaker got it," But
Think they do TikTok and stuff
yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
I'm probably missing where they do all their
They
business.
got a
but-
shop somewhere.
Yeah, they got a
like
shop in
in
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, day one, I don't have to buy a box. This is all the comments like, oh, the product should go down now, all this other stuff, right? Well, the 12 of 50 it inscribed is going to be more of a bounty anyway. But like in the same day, a collector used fan cash to buy a tier 1 box, right? In that box, he pulled a Yogi Berra cut auto and a Corbin Carroll bat knob auto rookie.
Wow.
In the same box.
But regular collectors never get that stuff.
Where'd they go? Where'd the guys go? You can't be both ways.
I gotta say, like the people who use
it's like it's a plant.
the people who
Now it's a
use
plant.
fan
They planted
cash,
that.
the Fanatics fan cash and get boxes, they always get the loaded boxes.
Yeah. I've used some fan cash before. Buy
I
some
actually
hats.
almost posted under my. I'm glad a breaker didn't get it because in a way I am. I'm actually glad a breaker didn't get it because it's like, look, it's completely random. The fact that breakers get the hits are one because they market their hits, and two they're doing 100 times more than
Brother,
anybody else.
Are we not that far removed from that guy who just got that big hit from his local card shop and then sold it for like $2 million?
Yes.
Like got the bounty for 150,000 or 250,000.
Somebody
Well, the
got
Shohei Ohtani superfractor was
Yes.
pulled in a local card shop.
Right.
Somebody
That's
got
what I'm
that-
saying. Like we're not that far removed from that. Do people just like have short-term memory?
Oh yeah, the
Like,
Drew Jones was pulled
The
in a
Drew
card
Jones.
shop.
The Wander Franco
It-
1 of 1 was
it's-
from a Walgreens blaster.
ain't no breaker getting that one, bro.
Complaining about breakers is the low hanging fruit,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, jump on board. It's the easiest thing to complain about.
Yep.
Honestly, it's breakers. They do everything online. The breaks are online. Most of them have a pretty strong social media presence. When they hit something, their company is online. They're probably going to post it. So you're seeing the content. Hobby shops don't do that as much. So you don't see what is ripped out. Like,
And
what
yeah,
is
you don't
pulled.
know if a customer that doesn't have social media that just goes home and hits these cards and doesn't say anything about it. How much is that? How many of that happens?
Happens a lot, probably.
Right.
Well, guys, check out the breaks at Mojobreak.com for Bowman Draft. We got a lot of it going down, all kinds of varieties, all different price points. So get in. You can get in the randoms if you want to just chase the Nationals. The Nationals are the ones that will get the Brady cards. Also, there's plenty of other value in the other teams. Every team has an auto to chase. Also, we're on Fanatics Live with that as well. So jump in. I mean, we're also doing Heritage High Number. We're also going to be doing Flawless Collegiate. We're going to be pre-selling some Prism football on that on the site as well. So check that out, and let's get into this interview.
I'm thrilled to be talking to Alex Giaimo, who we have been trying to get on for a while. And Alex, you know Alex from, Fanatics Live. You know from Goldin on Netflix. You know her as a face of the hobby. I've seen you referred to as the Queen of Collectibles. I don't know who
I don't refer to myself as that, but yes,
Yeah.
it is true.
Just the way it should be. You shouldn't ever create your own nickname. I've always been
Yeah, that's very cringe. Very cringe.
Yeah, you can't ever do that. Someone has to give it to you, but someone has given it to you, so I'm going to call you that. So, Alex, first of all, I really appreciate you coming on, and thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to finally meet you in person, in the flesh, I guess we could say. You know, you're on the West Coast vibing. I'm over here in the dark and cold outside of New York right now, but happy to be on with you, Doug.
Well,
Doug. I just called you Doug. Jeez. Cody, again.
I knew it.
I'm so sorry, Cody. You know, I just
knew
played
it was
It
gonna
Takes Two. It's a video game, and the main character's name is Cody. And I highly suggest it for all of you gamers. So I love Cody. So now I'll never get it wrong.
All right, It Takes Two. I'm going to write it down. I appreciate that, and not I have a dog named Cody or Agent Cody Banks. These are all things that I still ring in my head from childhood that still haunt me to this day.
Cody's a good name. It's a great baseball name too, by the way.
It's a good baseball name. It's a good baseball name. Could be watching a Cody around these parts maybe sometimes too, and I don't know. I'm trying to inject my own Giants hot stove baseball free agency in here, but that's another topic. It's a great time to have you on because we talked about Fanatics Live, Bowman Draft Week. Obviously, what happened? Your year here has been amazing on Netflix, but it's not actually why I think it's a great time to have you on. The AFC and NFC Players of the Week this week: Zach Wilson and Tommy DeVito. I mean, what's
How about
going
that?
on here? What?
How about that? Never in a million years did I think that would happen this year. What week are we in the NFL?
Oh gosh.
Week
And
what?
this far into the season too. And what?
Listen, yeah, it's crazy. Good for Zach Wilson. Okay,
Yes.
good for him. I mean, they benched him. They started him. They benched him again for someone that isn't good at football whatsoever. And I think the kid felt like he had nothing to lose. I mean, he went on in an interview and said, I had nothing to lose. There was no pressure. And I can relate to that a lot. Like when I feel no anxiety, no pressure, I'm so much better at my job. And it was good to see, Zachy going out there and just letting the ball rip. I don't know though. At the same time, it's like, now what, right? I still think they're both going to part ways at the end of the season. And I also think it will be a mistake if Rodgers does come back because they're not making the playoffs either way. So I'd like to see Zach keep getting thrown out there. And you never know what happens. Because if Rodgers does come back next year, which he will, he's old, right? So they might have him for another season or two. And then maybe Zach can actually be that guy. Why not? He looked like it last night.
He absolutely looked like it this week against a good team too. It wasn't like it was just, a bad Patriots team this year. Like he did it against one of the more hyped teams, especially in our world, in this hobby. Everyone's talking about the Texans and CJ Stroud. To see him do that, hey, give him another shot. Why not? They're 5-8. Chances are not likely they're making the playoffs. See what you got at least.
I mean, the Jets have pulled up some crazy upsets this year. They should have beat Mahomes, aka the biggest whiner in the NFL, I think. And they also had another huge upset. They beat the Eagles. Excuse me. They beat the Eagles. So they had the talent is there. And then as far as Tommy DeVito goes, as a New Jersey Italian woman, it's funny. I think he's milking it a little bit. I'm a huge Sopranos fan. The agent on the sidelines. I don't know if you saw. Obviously, you saw them all over. It was everywhere. It's just good for the game of football. It's gabagool. It's ridiculous. But most Italian Americans are ridiculous, especially if you're from New Jersey. We just met, but I think you can already understand that just from talking to me for 5 minutes.
I was gonna say for that reason, and I don't know what the future of Daniel Jones is at this point. I mean, it seems like paid him enough to be the future there, but also, gosh, this just feels like I can only reference what I know best is it's got the feeling of, I'll go another very prominent Italian-American quarterback. What happened with Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco, where it was like, let's just see what happens here. Yeah. And then, oh my God, you have a guy who can lead you. And, it didn't work out in the long run, but it certainly worked out there for about a couple of years. And I just am getting that same vibe from Tommy DeVito. Yeah. And then you add in the kid from Jersey, the family, they're all pissing each other in the stands.
Listen, I true story, Cody. I actually live about a block or two away from Danny Dimes. And by the way, I think he needs to lose the nickname because I know he didn't give that to himself. We're talking about nickname. He's just he's not a dime in either direction. So it's okay to be a quarterback like that, personality wise. He doesn't give you Tommy DeVito, right? Mm-mm. But then you got to be good. So I think Giants fans are leaning into this because Giants and Jets fans, we have nothing else right now. So it's been a fun run for us. Just give it to us. That's all we have right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's super entertaining watching it from afar. It's been incredibly entertaining. Yes. And you mentioned even the Sopranos stuff with the agent on the side. It's just, man,
it's ridiculous.
It's wonderful. It's ridiculous. It's wonderful. It's exactly what I want out of sports is this type of fun. So yeah, we kind of touched on it. You grew up in that area, in the New York area. The Jets worked for them. The New York Mets as well.
Yeah.
So just give me a taste of just what is it like? I think especially being on the West Coast where there is, we're super into the sports here. We're obsessed with it, but I'll go to the old, the legendary legend around here, Gary Radnich, where he says, we have perspective around here. We have other things. We have good weather. We can do other things. We don't get crazy like in Boston or New York. Is it really like that? Or are we all just kind of like overplaying it a little bit?
Is it like that here in New York?
Just kind of this fervent, insane, like you can't, I think of the WFAN callers and stuff like that, who have the craziest, wildest takes, and it's all they do, eat, sleep, and drink is this.
Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think it's as crazy as Boston because I also did work for NBC Sports Boston a little bit as a talking head. I worked alongside Tommy Curran, who just broke the news story about Bill Belichick being let go at the end of the season. So I've been around those crazy Bostonians. I think New York, New Jerseyans are also crazy, but also, keep in perspective that we haven't won anything in how long, right?
Yeah.
I grew up a Giants fan. Eli beat Brady twice, which was insane. Jets haven't been good in decades, haven't made the playoffs in, I think, 13 years after this year. Knicks are the Knicks. They're just a train wreck year after year. Mets, like this year, we were all gung-ho. Like, this is our year. Stevie Cohen's going to bring it together. It was a disaster. Brought in Verlander, brought in Scherzer. Disaster. They got traded to other teams. They won. So it's just like, it's hard where you are too. It's expensive. But at least you have the weather on your side. It's a hard lifestyle here. It is hard. I was just talking to my girlfriend. I was like, even going grocery shopping, parking the freaking car, everything is exhausting. Sports is an escape. It's entertainment at the end of the day. So why do we watch sports? Why do we follow teams? To escape our reality, which 9 times out of 10 is hell. So when those teams especially aren't winning and haven't won in such a long time, and these franchises and its fan bases are starving for any sorts of mediocrity, which is what and relevance, which is what we're getting actually right now with Tommy DeVito and Wilson and all that. Like, it's hard. So yeah, are they crazy like that? I was actually had the privilege of being on WFAN as a guest a couple of months back when King of Collectibles on Netflix came out, and it was wonderful. But I also have that demeanor, right? I'm a sweetheart, but I'm also tough at the same time. So it's hard. But at the same time, I think that we are people that also will embrace you at the same time. Very convoluted response, but I hope it made a little bit of sense.
No, 100%, and that's, I think, what I've gleaned just watching and visiting every once, a couple times, is there's that if when they love you, when those fans love you, they love you.
Yep.
You are a king, you're a queen, you are the top, which is that's why you see. I think the closest we're getting this year, Yankees with Juan Soto. I can't wait to see how those fans respond to him.
I'm going to put it down right now that is going to be the biggest bust of the offseason.
Oh, no way. Why do you think that?
I don't know. I mean, Stanton, Judge, Soto, what are the odds that all 3 of those men stay healthy all season long?
That's fair.
And I don't know. If it didn't work with Stanton, then Judge, what's Soto going to do? I don't know. We'll see. They need pitching. They need a lot. So
yeah,
let's see if Cashman can actually do his job for one.
Yeah, worst case scenario, it ends up being like the Padres, where Soto's producing, but everybody's getting hurt. It kind of falls apart around him. You're right. There's a lot more work to be done there, but man, I think that's a match made in heaven, if you ask me. Those two teams.
Yeah.
So you come from this sports media background, and we've had other guests on the show where we have talked about having that sports media background, and then. But here we are. We're in the hobby, and we've shifted. Everyone has
because it's fun. It's so much more fun.
Yeah, I want to touch on that. I want to hear what was, first of all, that shift. When does that happen? Why do you make that shift? And why do you think this world to you is a more enjoyable space to be in? Because that's what it sounds like from what you're saying.
Right. I did make a shift, but I do want to mention that I do still work in media and for networks and stuff. Like, I work for Major League Baseball Network. For those of you listening, I don't know if you know, there is a show called Carded on MLB Network that it's
great. Yeah.
I'm on. Greg Amsinger hosts. I'll have a bigger role next season. They would like me to audition to be one of the main talents on the network. I love MLB Network. Growing up, going to Syracuse, at the time it was the number 1 journalism school, Cody, in the world. You could have told me that was my dream job. Like, I would have said that was my dream job, right? Now at age, I'm not afraid to say it, at age 34 and being where I am, I still would love to work for them, but I don't know. I have fun doing my own thing, talking to guys like you, exploring other avenues, having the ability, to be more creative and goofy and funky like that. But I also have severe ADD, which is why I already forgot your question. How did I get in the hobby?
Yeah, there you go. Let's simplify it. How'd you get into this thing?
Because of reasons like that. Because I'm allowed to just be myself and have fun, right? Like, whereas if I go on a network, growing up, I wanted to be a Tracy Wolfson or an Aaron Andrews. And then I realized, like, as admirable career as that is, and what those women do is absolutely incredible. Do I think that I could do it right now? Absolutely. I just don't know if I want to at this stage of my life, because I'm enjoying the freedom of creating my own content and exploring, other avenues, talking about Tom Brady and his, success in the NFL, but also, posing a question of, I'm looking at your Montreal Expos hat. What if he chose baseball? That's fun to me. And I think that's where I graduated from Syracuse, from journalism school, in 2012. Instagram came out, I think, in 2012 or 2011, 2013. And that completely changed the trajectory of my career. I did the whole nuts and bolts, everything right. I worked for MLB Network, actually, as a baseball logger until 4:00 in the morning for a year. I worked for CBS Sports. I logged NFL football games in Espanol. I'm not kidding. I did whatever it had to do, excuse me, whatever it took to get to these big platforms. But then I eventually realized I really do want to perform. I want to entertain. So I moved to Iowa. I did the whole one-man band backpack journalism thing. I covered the Iowa Hawkeyes football, basketball teams during the Rose Bowl year when Christian McCaffrey kicked our ass. But
We
the
remember
team
it fondly around here.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Were you at the game with me?
I wasn't there, but I was probably at the radio station listening, on the broadcast.
I was in the press room crying. But it was I was 23 years old, and it was such an incredible experience. It was the best year in school history. And from there, the New York Jets hired me. They brought me home. So I was their official team, reporter, and I did a lot of fun stuff. The traditional football stuff. I was the first one in the locker room, and unfortunately, that was the year when they went 5-11 and couldn't win a damn game. And I wasn't allowed to really ask those fun questions. I'd like to think I was a glorified cheerleader, actually, which is why, again, I wanted to get out of that. I wanted to have the ability to ask what I wanted.
Yeah.
Then I worked for NBC Sports in Boston, as I said earlier, and I did esports reporting for the NBA. I was the first female esports reporter, NBA 2K League. I worked for the Mets. And again, I worked for the Mets because I was told that I would actually be able to report on baseball and on the game. And again, I wasn't. I was told to be a robotic cheerleader, and I wasn't happy. And I know sports better than any man, better than anything. And I'm tired of having to prove that year after year after year. And I think in the hobby, men and women are finally saying they respect me, the voice that I have, and it's a community and it's a family. And I just love you guys, and I love it so much. And I'm just having so much fun, and I'm hoping to just take it further and further and further. My whole goal, Cody, was to bridge the gap between traditional broadcast media and the hobby, because they really go hand in hand. If you know sports, you don't know the hobby. I'm not gonna lie, because it's a different language that now it's a language that I speak. But 3 years ago, when I was really grinding and getting into it, I had to listen to podcasts like yours every day, and I still do. And I'm learning every day, different nuances and different lingos and languages that come into it. But I love it. I love to learn more and more every day. And I also love now educating the common folk that isn't into the hobby, right? And I think that's one of the best things I can do for the hobby and for hobbyists, is to bring in more eyeballs outside of the industry, outside of the space, because a lot of us are collectors. A lot of us love nostalgia. It's within us all. Right. And I think you saw a little bit of that on the King of Collectibles show. I can talk about that whenever you want. My answer to your simple question was 10 minutes. So I'm going to let you speak now.
Well, I'm glad you touched on the whole getting eyeballs on it, because I think it's a big thing that we've heard since Fanatics has had a much larger presence in this hobby. Is there's that line, it sticks in my head. Michael Rubin talking about, we want to 10x the hobby, and let's just get stuff out of the way. There are people who are saying, it's not where we were in 2021, and that's frankly that's true.
But that's every industry. Look at our economy. I can't buy a freaking house.
Right. It was a weird moment where everything got funky, where we were all at home. We didn't know what to do with ourselves, and the fact
sports
is, it's
didn't
still,
exist.
Right. The fact is, we're still where we are now. Is still, you could say, better than 2018, 2017, whatever. So, but that out of the way, then I see something like yesterday where I go on my Twitter feed, it's wherever, and I'm seeing what's going on with Tom Brady. Why is he wearing Expo stuff? People who never would even think about baseball cards. Why is Eli Manning wearing San Francisco Giants rings? What's going on here? That to me is like, it's working. It's happening.
How cool was that? I mean, I'm working. I have the privilege to be able to work for Fanatics Live right now. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. It's been awesome, and I was lucky enough to stand next to Brady and Mike Rubin a couple months back. At the MLB flagship store in New York City. One of the coolest Cody experiences of my life, because when I was told about that, I was like, wait, what? Okay, you want me to host a show involving Tom Brady, but you want me to ask him questions about baseball? Like, what in the freaking world? And I was just like, standing next to freaking Mr. Tom Brady. I mean, one can make a very hard argument that he will go down as the most, I don't want to say athlete, but the most successful athlete of all time in the modern day era, right? I mean, you got Jordan, you got Brady, you got LeBron, but like, Brady was Brady, okay, the NFL. And I'm standing next to this man and I'm looking up at him. And by the way, yes, everyone's asking me, especially men, is he as good looking in real life? Yes, guys, he actually is. He has piercing eyes. The Montreal Expos vintage blue. He looked great. He looked great. He was very polite. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually more starstruck standing next to Michael Rubin because I hadn't met him yet. I was a little nervous. I was like, Michael, you're kind of like my new boss. But it was so much fun. And we were just getting started. Everyone knew about the card, but no one really talked about it publicly, right? So I had already fell in love with this idea of Tom Brady getting his own baseball card. Why? This is why Fanatics and Topps right now, I think, are so good for the hobby, because this is how, I don't know if it'll ever 10x, but this is how you 3x, 4x, 5x it. Again, you're bringing in outsiders. Like, look at all the articles that were written up about the Brady commercial yesterday. That one of the best commercials you will ever see, especially in sports. CNBC, Boardroom, Barstool, everyone is talking about this dream commercial with Tom Brady. Why? Because it's so creative. It's so creative. And,
Right.
A lot of the flat Cody that people have been saying is like, oh, whatever, it's a junk card. Like, excuse me, any card signed by most likely the most successful quarterback in NFL history is not junk. And two, just because you think it's junk because it's different from what we're used to, us traditionalists in the hobby, doesn't mean it's junk. And then there's also there's only 81 of them. The odds of getting it are, astronomical. Yeah, but the odds of Tom Brady taking 199th overall, 6 quarterbacks taken ahead of him, winning 7 Super Bowls, I would say those odds were pretty low as well, right?
Yeah,
but he did it, and that's what makes this chase so cool and so fun. And not to mention all the amazing prospects that are also in this Bowman Draft product, right? Paul Skeens could go down. They've been touting him, Cody, as one of the best pitcher to come out in a decade.
The best prospect since Strasburg is what everybody's saying.
Okay.
And then and on top of that too, with Skeens, and this is why this whole product released to me is as big as it's gotten in a while. And it's always a big deal. Bowman Draft's always a huge milestone on the baseball card calendar, but I feel like with him, and then you have the social media following. Is it Olivia Dunn?
Olivia Dunn. I talked about this on Fanatic Live.
I know. I'm showing my age. Like, is that who it is? Yeah, exactly.
Because I didn't know who she was either. She was on the cover of Sports Illustrated with the other LSU women's basketball star, Angel Reese, correct?
Yep. Yes.
Everyone knows who she is. She's got millions of followers. She's an athlete, but she's also entertaining. And again, that's what the hobby loves, right? So my point was, we did a prospect draft, me and Scott Rogowski, and like I picked my top 5, he picked his top 5, and my top 5 was give you my top 2: Paul Skeens and Max Clark, because Max Clark is really the first young baseball player to ever take advantage of social media. I think the man is 18 years old. He's a very young man. He already has 375,000 followers. Not to mention he's really freaking talented. And that's what the hobby loves. We love entertainment and eyeballs. So,
that's what the hobby loves. It's what baseball also desperately needs, is an 18-year-old kid with almost 500,000 followers getting into this thing and then see what he does. I mean, it was also, I remember, it was either last year or the year before, Blaze Jordan was sort of the same thing. If you remember him, the home run derby champ from high school, where I was like, who is this guy? He's ranked like 200th in top
Yep.
prospects. Like, why is this the guy? And then you see the videos. Baseball needs that so badly.
How is Blaze doing? Because I know he's huge in the hobby. He's not panning out as well as we would have liked so far, but there's still time.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite happened yet, but yeah, it's also like it could be 5 years from now, and then suddenly, oh wait, Blaze Jordan got called up and he hit 5 home runs in a week, and we're right back to Blaze mania. That's all it takes.
And that's why prospecting is so hard. It's really a crapshoot. It is such a crapshoot. I actually asked this to Jim Callis, an MLB network analyst on Fanatics Live show the other day. What would you rather be, Cody? I'll ask you this. Would you rather be an NFL #1 overall pick or an MLB overall pick in terms of, odds of actually making it in your prospective league? Right?
Ooh.
Isn't that a tough one?
That's a really tough one. I lean towards quarterback because that seems like the ceiling is the highest there, or the floor, I should say, is the highest there, where your #1 pick, you have the financial freedom from the get-go. Like, even if things really go south, you're fine, at least financially or whatever. And then endorsements and all that if things go really well.
Right.
You're Tom Brady. But then I saw Shohei Ohtani sign a $700 million contract.
Boom.
So maybe it changes there. The ceiling in baseball is astronomically higher, where they're playing with just, monopoly money. It's ridiculous.
Isn't it crazy how much more money Major League Baseball players make than an NFL player? But at the same time, and also NFL players take a beating, right?
Yeah.
There's no guaranteed money. There's nothing there guaranteed. You're getting, not to say that baseball is not a physically demanding sport, because it is. But it is not football, where you are, life and death every other snap, right? Not to say you can't get hit in the head, with a line drive and die, but you know what I'm saying? Sure. Concussions, everything. It is really hard to stay on the field. You don't get guaranteed money. You do only play 17 games a season unless you go into the playoffs, but it's just an absolute grind. And I just remember over the last couple of years, and especially as a Jets fan, Zach Wilson was a #2 pick, absolute bust so far. He's coming off his best performance in 3-4 years. It's just hard. So my question was, like, what are the odds? And I don't know, and I have to look this up, but like, are the odds of a #1 draft pick in the MLB higher of making it than an NFL one?
I'm
just
guessing
see a
it's
lot
lower.
of busts.
I'm guessing it's, I think it's a lot lower, actually. Although, I mean, I think the recent history has been pretty good if you look at the top 10 drafts, but I think you look at that versus like NFL the last 10 years, I think you're still looking at maybe like, 60 to 70% of these guys at the very least had an NFL career, had a good NFL career. Whereas I think in baseball, I think it's 50-50.
And there's more longevity. There's more longevity, though. You can have a 15-year baseball, career, and you're only going to have that in football if you're a guy like Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, hopefully, not wood, right?
That is the 1% for sure. The 1% of the 1%.
It's short and sweet. So anyway, off topic. Leave it to me. Sorry about
that. No, I appreciate it. I like the sports talk. It all ties back into what we're doing here in the hobby. And hey, I mentioned it. The year you had this year it's been incredible. And I'm sure, again, when you started your career, you would have thought, man, this is one of the great years of your career where you're on Netflix, you're on, you're doing Fanatics Live, and it's in this space, in this hobby. So, first of all, I just want to talk about your work on the Goldin show, on the Goldin Touch. I know season 2 sounds like it's in development. Can you tell anything about that?
So not to correct you, but it's called, and I think this is Netflix's fault. And I already said it's them. It's called King of Collectibles, the Goldin Touch. I think they should I know we want to get Ken's name in there because he is the man and it's his show, but a lot of people think it's the Goldin Touch, and I think we lose viewership for that.
I apologize. This is me doing the House of the Dragons versus House of Dragons thing.
Yeah, no, Cody, it's everyone. I swear it's everyone. So it's King of Collectibles. There's only so much I'm allowed to say, but yeah, season 1 was an absolute dream. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's the first time I was ever involved in Hollywood, right? Never in a million years did I ever think that I would go to school for traditional broadcast journalism and wind up where I am in the hobby, but let alone on the biggest global streaming platform in the world. So it is an absolute dream. Thank you, Ken Goldin, Netflix, Wheelhouse Productions for making that happen. But it was a grind. I'm not going to lie. Like, in order to get season 1 done, it took like almost 2 years from start to finish for it to actually audition, develop, film, and then it just took forever. Season one,
because I do remember we heard about it. Actually, we talked about it on this podcast. I think like in summer of 2021 is when we first heard about it. So yeah, it's
and it aired in early
see,
2023.
Yeah. And it was just great to see like you guys kind of, a look behind the scenes of this world. It was great for the hobby, great exposure for the hobby, and not just for the hobby too. I think it's great too that all sort of elements of collecting were included in this.
All elements. For instance, I can't explain how many DMs and emails I get a day from mostly strangers, but also people I grew up with, my mom's friends. I just got a DM about coins and jewelry and gold and watches. I'm like, listen, I am not an expert in that. Also, Goldin is not, everyone thinks now Goldin is the leading auction house in like sports and memorabilia and all that. But like people think we're the leading auction house in everything, like jewelry and watches and stuff like that. So I have to like, I guess divert them somewhere else. But there's so many fun things that have happened from it. Like I just got an amazing email from someone who, unfortunately, old uncle passed away, but my son gets his collection. I'm like, yes, I'll be there shortly with a camera. Let's go, baby. She's like, I know I can trust you. I was like, yeah, I know. Okay. But Netflix, there's only so much I can say, but we did just finish season 2. It was a couple months long process. I think I don't even know. I don't care anymore. I don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, but in another month or 2, we film like what's called pickup days where they figure out like what's missing from the show and you do that. I'm not even sure if I'm narrating in this year, but I hope I am. And then I finish. That's like the last piece of the puzzle, which I enjoy doing the most. I love to talk. And we do that. And then hopefully it comes out. Ken has been quoted in saying it comes out probably beginning right before baseball season of 2024. So soon. And I think this year, the hobby is going to like it even more because it's more a lot of last season. Listen, it was a crapshoot. We and they had no idea what anyone was going to like. They didn't know if anyone would like it at all. The budget was very low. It's never a show like that had never been done before on Netflix, especially my role, right? As like a talent / narrator / host. It had never been done before. And I'm not going to lie. There were moments where I laid up all night and was thinking, what the hell did I just do? This is going to be embarrassing. I couldn't even watch the premiere until everyone in my family and like all my best friends told me like, it's good, watch it. So it was a proud moment that it went 9 and 5 globally. But season 2 is coming out soon. I think you guys will like it more within the hobby because it's more about the actual individual collector, the average Cody and Alex Giaimo, like going into grandma's basement like I did and checking out an old collection, checking out your father's vintage baseball card collection, and other cultural items. And that's why I loved the most about the show. It wasn't just about sports. But this year I will say as a sportsman, which I know you are, it's way more sports heavy actually,
nice.
Because the feedback was Netflix was afraid that the Globe wouldn't resonate too much with the sports, but they loved it. So it's way more sports centered this year.
Yeah. And that's surprising to hear about Netflix because I just feel like they have tapped into like some great sports content, some great sports documentaries and shows.
I was going to say, but mostly documentaries. Yeah. But like mostly documentaries.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, Cody, the only, America is really the only country where like the NFL is huge, right?
Sure.
Like baseball's big in Japan and other places, but not in obviously South America. But it's not. Soccer is really the GOAT sport across the globe. So that's why you saw a lot of heavy soccer in season 1. Yeah. But season 2, we were sort of taken off the leash a little bit, and like Ken was allowed to like let it fly. So I think I'm really excited to see some of it. I have not seen anything yet, but it's coming out soon. I'm excited.
Well, we're very excited to see it. I won't say anything other than either at the National, we had a big card that we pulled on display at the Goldin booth. I don't know if there will be any discussion of it on the show or anything, but I'm going to keep my eyes out for that. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. We'll talk after this. Now I need to know.
We'll talk afterwards. We'll talk after like.
By the way, I got to get it. I'm about to, after we end this, I'm getting on a Mojobreak. I'm going for one of those Brady autos or maybe a Max Clarkey.
Oh, nice. There you go. Hey, you know what? I think we're actually, as we're recording this, we're live on Fanatics Live. We're live on our website. So
baby.
You've got options. You got plenty of options. So hop on in. Just a few more minutes with you, Alex. And again, appreciate the time. Hey, let's talk about Fanatics Live. You've been a big presence on there here the last few months. How did that partnership develop? What can you tell us about maybe the future? We know that there's been some amazing events they've had with the Wemanyama event in San Antonio, at the New York studios with guys like Tom Brady, you mentioned Derek Jeter. What
Right.
can we expect from you with them, and maybe anything you might tell us about plans in 2024 for Fanatics Live?
Yeah, for sure. I can only speak from my end, which is Fanatics Live is this. If you think about it, we all know that Fanatics is Mike Rubin, and there's a lot of money in within both of those brands. But Fanatics Live, you got to give them credit. My boss Josh Landau brought me on because he believed in me. He actually came to my King of Collectibles premiere and was like, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love for you to come on and be one of our spokespeople for Fanatics Live. I was like, let's do it. But it's a startup, so things take a while, as to pan out. So Fanatics Live it's a breaking platform, but it's more than that. It's like, okay, for instance, they brought over big time social media people from Red Bull. And what I've learned recently is Red Bull, what do you think about Red Bull, right? It gives you wings, it makes you fly. If you go on they're one of the most successful branding companies in history. And if you go on their Instagram feed, you don't see anything about their product, nothing. You don't see like the actual energy drink, which gives me a heart attack. You just see things that make you think about it. It gives you endorphins. And so whatever. So I would like to think that is my role with Fanatics Live. I don't know if you saw the Tom Brady video I did, where it was a little bit of, educational content / little humor / a little of this. That's what I want to bring. Not only to my personal feed, but to their feed. I want to bring in, as we talked about earlier, outside perspectives of the hobby, which is what Michael Rubin wants to do at Fanatics. So hopefully I'm one of the people that can do it. The live show is like a lot of fun. I know that we're definitely going to make it bigger and better, and hopefully more frequent. I literally live 20 minutes away from that gorgeous studio that they just built in the West Village in the city, and it's so much fun. And the sky is the limit. We haven't even scratched the surface. I can't speak on like their other bigger plans, but I can say like there are some like huge events going down soon with big time athletes, because Rubin has the ties. Mike Mahan is doing such an incredible job, and I'm just there to talk and hopefully be engaging and not annoy everyone. So that's really it. To talk to these athletes and interview them about their game, but also, the hobby space within it, right? So like bridging the gap between them both.
Right. That's what it's all about. That's been it's amazing too to find out how many of these athletes are in love with this stuff. I think I saw it was and athletes who are getting into it now too. I saw
the rookie of the year on the Diamondbacks.
I was about to say Corbin Carroll is a perfect example of a guy who was like, oh, what's happening here? And hey, shout out to Evan Longoria, who was around these parts a long time and is a huge collector. I think he's a big reason why Corbin got into that. So shout out to him, and it's cool to see that. Cool to see guys get into it, like Josh Young for the Rangers too. So we're just scratching the surface of the athlete to collector relationship here, and we're gonna find out there's even more guys that we ever dreamed of that are super into this stuff. So,
and what's more interesting to me, like even if they aren't a collector, they don't care. The story behind a lot of these items, like, because the hobby isn't just sports cards, it's memorabilia, right? It's game used memorabilia and collectibles and stuff like that. So like interviewing, what I will get into, I promise you, more in 2024 is interviewing these guys about specific instances. We know that this jersey piece from Corbin Carroll was from this game. Corbin, tell me about that game. What was going through your head during that moment? Like, what do you remember? Like, how nervous were you? Like, biggest screw up, blah, blah, blah. So fun stuff that like we would never get unless someone like me or you asked them. And they generally like really enjoyed talking about it. It's fun stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They love to like be like, oh yeah, that August 6th game in Milwaukee. Yeah, I remember every single moment of that game. Absolutely. It's surprising how the memory recollection they have is pretty impressive.
But you'd be surprised. But some of them will be like, yeah, I remember that game. I stole second base. It did win us the game, but I also like ripped my ass up while doing it, right?
Yeah, that's the more memorable part of that.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Or that night I had really bad room service or something. Like that's what I really remember from that trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it. Hey, hopefully we could, visit the studios at some point. I can't wait. It'd be awesome because it looks
Yeah, come on
amazing.
down.
And
Let's do a
working with
segment.
Fanatics. Yeah, working with Fanatics has been awesome. So appreciate you coming on, and can't wait to see what you got in the future. One question as we get out the door here, because we asked it on the podcast and it's on everyone's mind. Of the Tom Brady cards, of these big Tom Brady cards, do you want the 1-of-1 superfractor with the auto, or do you want one of the 2 inscribed cards? Which
Okay, I'm
one,
not
if you
gonna
choose
lie.
one?
I'm not gonna lie. When I was working last night and I heard that the super was pulled, and I was
I can't
so
believe it.
disappointed. I was like, no, because I'm not gonna lie. I actually genuinely thought that I was gonna pull it. I was like, this is it. I deserve this. I'm gonna pull it. Would I want that one or the 12 out of 50?
There's the 12 out of 50
one?
and the 12 out of 25. There's 2 inscribed ones. One I think says "Let's go Expos."
Yeah,
My French is
well,
not good.
it's no, the 12 out of 50 says, well, if baseball doesn't work out, there's always football.
That's right.
So that's
That's
like
right.
the whole quote unquote dream thing. I'm gonna have to say, as awesome as that statement is, I'm still gonna have to go for the super fractor because there's only one of them, and it doesn't matter
Super's
what
a
grade you
super.
get. There's only one of the other one as well. I don't know. They're both in like they're you can't put a price on either one. I would take both.
Yeah,
But
we'll
how
just take
cool
them
is
all.
that? Props to Topps and Fanatics for like making this a thing. Like, 12 months ago, none of us would ever thought that this was ever a thing. It's creativity. And that's what the hobby needs more of, right? We just need more of this. And I know that Fanatics will bring that. It's fun. It's got us talking about different things. It has us talking about things that never happened. Use your imagination. The new Willy Wonka movie's coming out shortly, right? Like step into the world, right? Like Golden Ticket.
Exactly. And we need Oompa Loompa cards pronto is what also dawned on me when you said that.
I'm the same height as an Oompa Loompa, so
No,
I'm
come on now. Come on now. Just don't be breaking out of the song or anything to end this. That's all I have. Alex, this was a blast. Thank you so much for joining me. Where can everybody find you? Let us know where we can find you on the socials, online, or on TV.
Just right now, currently at Alex Giaimo, AlexGiaimo. It's very easy, guys. King of Collectibles on Netflix comes out in a couple months. Look out for that. MLB Network, it's the off season, so you can't find me there. But I'll be lurking. I'm just starting to step up my content game, so I think you guys will be seeing more of me, hopefully. So ready to annoy you more.
There we go. We're ready to be annoyed in your words, I guess. No, hey, Alex, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Cody.
All right, guys, that is it for the show. Thank you guys for checking it out. Once again, you can follow us on Mojobreak_com on Twitter, Instagram. We're on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe and listen to wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Play. We're on Apple. So make sure you check out all the old podcasts, all the upcoming podcasts. We do this every week, and we'll see you guys on the next one.